Now on Central Illinois News Day, controlling blood pressure, how it reduces the risk of a neurological disease. Then diagnosing and managing concussions, the new test that could predict long-term symptoms.
If you're not sure when you should be using canned pumpkin versus pumpkin pie filling, we're here to help you out. We'll also be sharing a to-die-for pumpkin recipe.
Central Illinois News Day on WMVD starts now.
Well, first this afternoon, President Biden is taking new steps to help Americans have a little more money to spend. But borrowing money to buy a home is getting more expensive by the week. Nichelle Medina has the latest from San Diego.
Home mortgage interest rates have jumped to their highest level since 2001. The average 30-year fixed rate has now topped 7%. But at the White House today, President Biden was focused on what he called junk fees from banks and other companies that target consumers.
Today, my administration is announcing new actions to lower the cost of everyday living for American families.
The president says charges for things like bounced checks, credit card late fees, and insufficient funds are unfair and cost Americans tens of billions of dollars every year.
Weighing down family budgets and making it harder for people to pay their bills. So my administration is taking action to eliminate these fees.
With midterm elections less than 2 weeks away, the president is making the case that he is taking steps to help boost the economy, while Republicans blame the Biden administration's policies for soaring prices.
Everything they do is wrong. It's actually impressive to get every policy wrong.
In the final sprint to Election Day, many GOP candidates are laser focused on the economy.
And the number one issue that I hear every single day, what's at the doors, at fairs and festivals, is this cost of living crisis. People are downright scared.
Voters weighing who will best handle their economic concerns will soon have their say. Nichelle Medina, CBS News.
The president says his administration will also target fees charged by airlines, cable companies, and concert ticket sellers. And new home sales declined 10.9% in September. The slump reverses a big gain in August. Year over year, new home sales are down by 17.6%. The median price of a new home sold in September rose to over $470,000 last month, though prices are still below the record of $479,000 set in July. And taking a look around Illinois, Planned Parenthood of Illinois says they're seeing a historic surge of out-of-state patients. Yesterday, they unveiled an expansion of their Champaign Health Center that will help meet demand. The multi-million-dollar renovation includes a new floor of procedure rooms, ultrasound rooms, a recovery room, and more. They say it doubles capacity for in-clinic abortion care in central Illinois. In June, the Supreme Court overturned Roe v. Wade, triggering abortion bans or restrictions in some states. The list includes neighboring Indiana, where Planned Parenthood says 11% of abortion patients in Champaign are from.
We see patients who must flee their own communities to access basic health care or are forced to carry a pregnancy against their will.
Welch says Planned Parenthood has been preparing since 2016 to expand several facilities. And in a health alert, controlling high blood pressure in older adults may be one of the best ways to reduce their risk of developing dementia. Australian researchers studied more than 28,000 people from 20 countries using randomized placebo-based trials to lower blood pressure when needed. Patients were followed until the development of dementia. Investigators say those who maintained a lower blood pressure reduced their risk of developing dementia. Study authors say their work suggests using treatments to lower blood pressure is currently one of the best bets to fight this disease. Their work appears in the European Heart Journal. And working more hours at a stressful job can lead to higher chances of depression. Researchers in Michigan examined data on more than 17,000 first-year medical students. They found that those who worked 90 hours weekly or more had 3 times higher risks of depression symptoms compared to those who work 40 to 45 hours a week. Researchers say employers who worked for more hours a week had scores high enough to be diagnosed with moderate to severe depression. Absolutely. And diagnosing and managing concussions can be challenging, especially in children who often have a hard time articulating what they're experiencing. Now, researchers in Ohio are studying a new unique method that may help predict which children will experience lingering symptoms. Elise Preston has more.
Senior Thomas Helsel is used to taking hits, but 2 years ago he was sidelined with a concussion.
It was a blindside hit to the back of the head. I just remember laying on the ground and people surrounding me, and I was a little bit dizzy and confused.
Thomas says the recovery process was slow.
I experienced a lot of headaches right after the fact, some troubles thinking and focusing on certain issues, and sometimes, especially in school. And I want to say that lasted a couple months.
Most symptoms usually resolve in a few weeks, but up to 1/3 of children develop persistent symptoms, such as headache, nausea, dizziness, blurry vision, and light sound sensitivity. Now, researchers at Nationwide Children's Hospital find saliva may help identify which children are at higher risk of lingering symptoms.
The saliva, we're looking for these molecules called microRNAs. There's 800 different ones that we're looking at.
Researchers identified 13 that were different in the group of children that had prolonged concussion recovery compared to the group that did not. Dr. Catherine Miller envisions this non-invasive method could be administered on the sideline.
This could be indicative of some sort of biological event, right? Some sort of reaction that this child is having, that their body is responding differently than other children who have typical recovery, right?
Thomas took part in the research.
I thought it was pretty cool.
He wants teens to know they should take a head injury seriously.
I think you just need to go get it checked out.
Because it's better to be safe than sorry before getting back out on the field. Elise Preston, CBS News.
Well, in a consumer alert, Clorox is recalling 37 million Pine Sol cleaning products due to bacteria exposure concerns. The recall affects the Pine Sol scented multi-surface cleaners, Clorox Pro Pine Sol all-purpose cleaners, and Clorox Professional Pine Sol Lemon Fresh cleaners. Clorox, the parent company of Pine Sol, says bacteria was found in some products that were made between January 2021 and September 2022. The Consumer Product Safety Commission warns exposure to the bacteria can cause a risk of serious infection that may require medical treatment. The CPSC urges consumers to stop using these items immediately. No incidents have been reported in connection to the recall. And Target is adding more Apple stores to its locations. Apple shop-in-shops are now in more than 150 Targets. The retail chain has been adding shops in partnership with Disney, Ulta Beauty, and Levi's. Target and Apple started with just 17 locations in early 2021. The shops include Apple-trained Target tech consultants and have twice the space for Apple products. And with Halloween less than a week away, eBay has announced a ban on Jeffrey Dahmer costumes. Interest in the notorious serial killer has increased due to the popular Netflix series based on his life. The e-commerce retailer says it prohibits the sale of items that glorify violence. And 6 in 10 Americans admit to going to work even when they're sick, and the heat is taking a heavy toll on health and incomes. Jane King's at the NASDAQ with those stories and more in today's Wellness Report.
The Lancet Medical Journal reports more people are dying during brutal heat spells. Scorching temperatures are also causing people to lose work. In the U.S., extreme heat is already the #1 weather-related killer. Now, adding more green spaces to cities is a strategy for preventing heat deaths, but only 27% of some 1,000 global urban centers were at least moderately green last year. Well, Americans, especially people of color, are even more reluctant to take time off from work when sick than a year ago. A new poll of employed Americans from one poll on behalf of Theraflu found 41% always or often work while sick because they cannot afford to take a sick day from their job, and 64% said taking a sick day would cause financial strain. Age was also a factor. Older working Americans were less likely than younger ones to take time off from work when sick. And a low-fat, plant-based diet may improve hot flash symptoms in menopause by 88%. The 12-week trial found that the plant-rich diet reduced the moderate to severe hot flashes, and the diet may also have helped women lose 8 pounds on average. From the NASDAQ market site, I'm Jane King. Here's your health.
Coming up, if you're not sure if you should be using canned pumpkin versus pumpkin pie filling, Howard's in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen to help you out. And Molly Naslin has your full weather forecast coming up.